What's up, everybody? Jack here, and this is another of our weekly Mastermind group meetings. I'm here with B. How you doing, man?
What's up, Jack? All good. Had a couple eBay issues this morning, but called the customer service and did what I could. So figured I'd jump on here. I'm tired of dealing with eBay and Amazon. So
It's
I'll take a break for an hour and talk about it. And glad to be here, man.
yeah, it's always nice to be able to have something to distract yourself with and get a bit of momentum. So now, let me explain for those of you guys listening. I need to do my little intro to how this group works, B, and then we'll just get into whatever. So this is a group that meets once per week. This is a live streamed group, and it's free to join. The catch, obviously, is that when you join, you are being recorded and being live streamed. I use this as sort of a quality filter because it means that the people who join have to be a little bit more confident. They have to feel like usually they have some kind of interest in YouTube or meeting community or networking in some way. So I believe that this can be an effective filter. Because typically these kind of groups cost money, and the really productive ones usually are expensive. And one of the reasons for this is because people have to feel like they're giving something up in order to actually try and put in effort. Usually if things are completely free, then you just don't get good engagement out of people because they have nothing to lose. It doesn't matter. Whereas in this case, they have to expose themselves to the internet, put themselves out there a little bit. And so I value that. But if you're interested in joining, like I said, completely free, just look in the link for the description to the Discord group. When you join the Discord group, you are welcome to talk to any of the other members. Everybody in the group is interested in self-employment in some way. They could be drop shippers, they could be physical sellers, they could be trying to create courses or run a YouTube channel. But that's like what everybody all has in common is this interest in self-employment. And this live stream call happens once a week on Friday at 9 a.m. my time in Nicaragua or 11 Eastern Daylight Time in the United States. And you will get a link if you join the Discord chat, and you just join the call, and then that's all you got to do. And the way the format of this works, this is the first call that we're starting it off, and someone's already here, which is awesome. And hopefully that's going to be how most of them are. I would prefer to start with a group and have it be focused on our group dynamic and talking about what we're working on, what we worked on last week. And one of the things that I do for some structure is I always ask what you want me to ask you next week, because then that I'm going to ask you something. So it can hold you accountable and make sure that you feel a little bit more momentum and a bit more motivation to do the things that you need to do. So there we go. That's the spiel of what this group is. Now I'm excited to get to it.
So what's up? I got my note here. Let's see. Ask Jack if he finished recording his videos. So
Yeah.
there's
I didn't finish
my note
every
for
single
you.
one,
So
but I did finish the vast majority of them. And I made like 20 something videos. And now all of the footage. So for reference, for those of you guys listening, B is asking me about the course that I'm working on right now. I'm making a course showing people how to live in Nicaragua, which is a country in Latin America, talking about the visas, what life is like there, what cost of living is, showing examples of places that you can rent, how much they cost of food, all of this kind of stuff. And so what I said I would do is I would finish recording all of the raw footage for the course, which is when like I have to go out into the street and record a video, that kind of thing. And I did all of the raw footage except for one section, but it's a section that I can do on the laptop just using my screen. I don't actually need to be here in Nicaragua because I'm actually just one of the reasons I said, or as we established this goal, is because I'm about to be in the US for 2 weeks. So I'll have to work from my computer. So I need to make sure that I have everything on the computer necessary to finish the course. And so now that's pretty much done. Didn't quite meet it because technically I haven't finished every video, but I've done like 90% of them. And I also added more videos. So I finished all the videos that I thought I would do, But I also added 5 other ones that I want to do, and I didn't finish all of those. So.
Now you made progress, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's what counts.
absolutely. Yeah. Got over that. Whenever I make a course, I always go through like the initial interest of starting the course, and then a phase of procrastination and insecurity, and then I get like more videos recorded. Once I've done 2 or 3 videos, that phase ends, and then I just usually hammer all the videos out within like 1 week. Typically, I would like to be a person who has more diligence and has like an exact recording schedule, but it tends to happen. I feel the emotional connection, and then the course is done in like a week, and it's all just doing the little things, filling out the descriptions, adding quizzes, assignments, all the text, figuring out the landing page, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you ever get started, I mean, it seems like that's what same way it is with me on every project. I mean, it's like I know what I got to do, I want to do it, and then it's just that little bit of getting started. Once you get started, it seems like you know you just knock it out. But it's all about that first step on just about everything. So,
Yeah, you almost have to trick yourself. And that actually
hmm
brings up something that I've been doing a bit differently. Um, so I used to believe that like, oh, people are only like morning people are the only productive people, that you have to wake up early. And I think that this is important, but I also have come to understand that I need to be more like loving towards myself and the way that I am. And the reality for me is I do have a lot of energy when I wake up for an hour or two, and then I crash. And the problem is that in the line of work that I do, I'll often think about something I want to do at night or in the afternoon, and I'm really interested in it. I feel like excited about it. But no matter what I think about in the morning when I first wake up, I don't feel excited at all. And so one thing that I've been doing differently is that I'm not doing the coursework really as soon as I wake up. I usually do my more like monotonous, boring life tasks, like doing my laundry, eating, cleaning, this kind of stuff. See you, it's Have a good day at work. And I used to kind of judge myself for that because I viewed all that stuff as procrastination, and I thought that I had to start the day off with working on the course. But honestly, with that mentality, what was often happening was that I was just kind of getting mad at myself, and I wasn't really getting as many results because I wouldn't always do it. Whereas what's been working really well recently is that when I wake up, I literally don't even expect myself to do any coursework at all or anything like future changing. When I wake up, my goal is not even think about that stuff. Literally just do the basic things I have to do to establish a little bit of momentum, eat some food, cook, do some cleaning, go outside, skate for like 10, 20 minutes, get my heart beating. And what I'm really focusing on is choosing the time that I let myself think about the future changing work. Because if I make myself think about it as soon as I wake up, I feel quite distraught and a little bit depressed because I don't feel interested in it. And then that makes me feel scared. But the reality is, if I just ignore that and focus on the things I have to do anyway, that I don't need to think about, that are really monotonous and boring, then by the time I've done those for an hour or two, I'm much more awake and I'm more present and coherent. So then when I start to think about the things that I want to work on in the courses, instead of feeling overwhelmed or tired or not interested, I just want to do it. And I find that by like giving myself more time to do the other things so that I can do the coursework like in the afternoon, what often ends up happening is I'll do some work on my personal life, hang out with friends, do some cleaning, all these like basic chores, and then maybe I'll take like a nap, and then I wake up and I just work, and it's really like there's nothing in my mind getting in the way. I've cleared everything out, and that seems to work really well for me. But it took a while for me to get to this point because I always thought that you had to just work on the important stuff as soon as you woke up. But I'm starting to understand that like that works for me if I'm incredibly excited about what I'm doing. But inevitably that excited feeling doesn't last forever. You always get to a point where like you're still interested in your work, but it's not like you're obsessing about it all the time, you know? And the problem before is that I was always relying on this obsessive energy. Like there are plenty of times where I would wake up and I would just like go ham as soon as I woke up on what I was working on. But that's not I could never maintain that pace. And I would always get to a point where I'm no longer as obsessive about it. And then I would just not want to work on it as soon as I wake up. And then I wouldn't work on it at all. So it's really important to like have a balance, because it's better to be able to work on something a bit every day than it is to work on something all day for like a week and then not at all, you know? So I've been struggling with this and learning to be more loving to myself and work with what I got.
I deal with the same thing as far as in the morning. I've never been a morning person. And then if I wake up and I'm already focused on the main, most important goal of the day, it's like, just like you said, you dread it or you don't want to get into it or whatever. I've tried jumping straight into the, most important task of the day, but I'm just not awake, man. It takes me a cup of coffee and about an hour before I feel like I'm ready to just jump in and, do a sprint worth of important work for the next hour or two or whatever. But, yeah, in the mornings, I normally get up and do whatever I can do, accomplish a couple little things, get my coffee, get woke up, and I check my orders and make sure there's nothing weird, crazy going on that I need to handle. Just like today, eBay labels not printing through the eBay website, kept throwing back error, which I figure, you can always go and print them off PayPal, which I ended up doing, but I knew it was a problem. I knew it wasn't just me when I called eBay, and the wait time was like 25 minutes because normally it's like
pretty quick,
2 minutes. Yeah, so pretty fast. But I had to call them anyway about got a negative feedback. So somebody knocked my 100% feedback off, and that was over a package that apparently never got scanned. I printed the label, dropped it off with the rest of my stuff, and I don't know what happened to it. It never made it. It never got scanned, but I've been getting kind of relaxed about dropping stuff at the post office and not waiting in line,
Yeah.
And then I have to rely on them to scan it. But, yeah, the whole morning routine, back to that, it's important, and I think every person's got to figure it out for themselves, because I've tried waking up super early, but I'm bad about going to sleep at a decent time. So
yeah.
if I go to sleep late and then I get up early, then it's like, oh yeah, I'm up early, but man, I feel like crap and I'm not getting anything done. So it's a balance and it's a routine, but as long as you're making progress, that's the main thing.
So I'm looking at the live chat, and there's actually an interesting question.
I never do pull the chat up, so I don't look at it, but
it's all good. So it's somebody who is in Nicaragua and they have a PayPal account, and the PayPal account got limited, and they have to wait 180 days to withdraw the money they have in the account. So before talking a bit more about that, we need a little bit more information. Gamalatorius. Gamaleali. I'm gonna call you Gamma. So you could be talking about your PayPal account being suspended, in which case they put all the money on hold, and then like half a year later you get it. Or you could be talking about a rolling reserve, which is when all of the transactions you receive, a portion of them are put on hold, and then you get them later. So you need to clarify a little bit about if your PayPal account itself is suspended, like you can't use it anymore, and they've placed a collateral reserve on you, which I think is what you're talking about, but I'm not completely sure. So we need a little bit more information before we can help you. What's up, Kimmy? Good to see you again. And I have coffee burning on the stove, so I'm just going to grab that. I will be right back.
How are you, Kimmy?
Pretty good.
Doing all right this morning?
Yeah, having some complications with my video, but now it's working. So
Yeah, I had to update my Zoom. I guess I kept trying to connect, and it wouldn't. It wouldn't let. Kept airing out and not responding or whatever. So I closed it all out and did the
gotcha.
update, and I guess I'm good now. Hopefully, I'm not too loud. This
Yeah, it seems good from here.
mic seems like it's loud sometimes, but other than that, it's the same old, same old. We're trying to
Right?
get this online money. That's about it.
Pretty much.
What time zone are you in?
It is 11:19 here.
11.
Eastern.
You're okay. So you're Eastern. I'm Central, so I'm an hour behind.
Gotcha. What state are you in?
Tennessee.
Okay. We were in Kentucky last weekend for a meetup, so
Oh, really?
a little bit of a drive, but it was fun.
That's pretty cool to go. Okay.
Yep. Learned a lot.
Awesome.
What it's all about.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to put myself out there and network and talk to people, and I know that the real successful people have a group that they can just talk about stuff, and whether it's a hired coach or mentor or whatever. I think just talking about it, explaining problems, and meeting new people. I mean, I think it's just all positive,
Right?
in the long run, anyway.
Yep.
I had
It's a
that
big world.
experience with Chris's group, because so personally in my life, I used to get a lot of social anxiety, to the point where I wouldn't interact with people because I thought I was introverted, and that I just had all these misconceptions about how humans work. And then the online videos really, really helped me get out of that. Really, really helped me, because it got me to a point where I'm comfortable on doing a video call with somebody. Whereas in the past, if somebody called me and immediately I saw somebody was calling me, I would start experiencing anxiety for no reason. There was no reason for me to feel that way. I just, because of my past and various reasons, I had put myself in a position where I had associated anxiety with communicating with people. And what really helped me get out of that was participating in Chris's Mastermind group, and also doing Skype calls with people on the YouTube channel. Doing these things put me in a position where now I don't really feel if I'm really insecure or I'm having a really bad day, I'll feel a little bit of anxiety. But I'm now so used to communication that it's changed these problems that I had before that were getting in the way of my work. So for me, having a group that I could talk to, that it's not even, I wasn't hosting the group or anything. I was just one of the participants, and it really showed me how powerful it is to feel like you're part of a community and feel like you have an obligation to that community to follow through with what you said you would do. Because the reality is, prior to having these connections with people, I had a lot of thoughts about what I should work on, but I wouldn't actually turn those thoughts into actions very often. They often just stayed as thoughts. Whereas now, if I'm exploring a concept and I talk about it in video, I also develop an obligation to follow through with that concept that I'm talking about. So I can make myself do things by saying them in the videos with people, and then I end up actually doing them. And it's a really effective way to get more results out of yourself. But you have to know that that's what you want. And you also have to have something that you're working on, right? Because there's a difference between I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to find something, versus I know exactly what I need to do. I'm just not doing enough of it. These are very different mentalities in that sense.
Yep.
And doing the reselling thing, I mean, or anything outside of the conventional ways of making money, I mean, it's a lonely game, and it's hard to relate to other people because 90% of the people are 9 to 5 days a week, and on the weekend they're ready to forget about their job and just blow off some steam. Which, I mean, the weekend, I still work and do everything. I try to keep my normal routine 7 days a week, so I'm always getting something done or building towards something. But when you work by yourself, you don't get that coworker experience. I mean, that's where the Zoom groups and the Mastermind groups and all that. I mean, I know Chris's group. I've watched a few of them, and I mean, it's legit. So I mean, I can see how that would, even if it's just the mindset of, okay, I'm in there, I'm listening to everything, and having people holding you accountable. I mean, it can level you up really fast, which is why I'm here. So it's good.
Yeah, it absolutely helps. And there's also something to be said about just like, in most things in life, if you want to progress, you have to be able to be diligent. And I wish it was more complicated than that, but a lot of life really is just about showing up. It's not about being perfect. It's not about being right, or it's not even about being skilled or talented. It's literally just about showing up. And that's one thing that I think has become very obvious to me with these video calls, is how regularly people are literally just unable to regularly meet once a week, even if they technically have the availability and the time. Like with these calls, for example, this has been a weekly call for about 4 months now. And it was very surprising to me that there's very few people who will actually like regularly contribute. Like you guys are some of the regular faces. Same with Rita. But most people literally just like join once or maybe twice, and then they lose interest. That it's the typical life cycle of how people function. And it's interesting because this is, I think, kind of symbolic of the problems that most of us have, is that we can see an opportunity in a moment, but in the long run, we have a hard time sticking with the same things. In general, most people that I interact with are like that. Really, this line of work and self-employment isn't actually hard. It's just hard to know what you should work on. But the work itself is often easier than a lot of the work that people do for day jobs or comparable. It's no more like intellectually challenging, really. But people get so lost in that. They get so lost in like, oh, I have to be a certain way to have a self-employed life. I have to be this. I can't do it because of this. And it's funny because really, technically, if you just work on stuff 10 minutes every day in a year or two, you're going to know exactly what you need to do. It's not hard. There's not really that much more to it. You just have to every day do something. But most people aren't able to do that. They do it for a couple days, maybe a week, maybe a month, but then they move on to something else. And I think this is just the human condition. I don't know.
I think that's the mindset of majority of people. I mean, it's just show a little interest, but you got to stick with, something. And when you're only accountable to yourself, I mean, it's easy to do it, but it's easy not to do it. So, I mean, you can go either way with it, especially when, people don't have anything invested in, whatever it is that they're trying to get involved in. So,
yeah. And that's probably another thing to touch on, is that like Chris's group, for example, costs $100 a month. So if you're paying that, like you feel a obligation yourself to make it worth it and to participate and to join. Whereas a free group like this, it literally is all based on your standing in the community and how connected you feel. That's the only thing that's bringing you back, really. So that could also be one of the reasons that people don't join very over and over again, because there's not something that's kind of forcing them to. Whereas if they were paying for it, they would want to make that worth it. You know what I mean? Because if you're paying for something and you don't even participate, what are you doing? Why are you paying? Right?
mm-hmm.
So that's something I noticed a lot as well with courses, actually, is that when people pay for information, typically they're actually more respectful to the person who's providing the information versus when they get it for free. I experienced that a lot, and I came to realize and understand that when you give information away for free, it is more prolific and it's useful, but at the same time, you are attracting a crowd of people that doesn't care about you as much. They don't have a reason to trust you, really. You've been good to them, and they haven't given up anything at all for you, and that's how it is. And it's interesting because that actually affects things a lot more than I had realized in the past. And that's something I'm still torn about with this. Like, basically, I'm going to do this group for like a year or so probably, and then figure out like what paid options would be, and then get some experience with that and try and figure out like, okay, is it even possible to have a free mastermind group that's really productive for people, or does it actually have to be paid to instill this like drive to get people to make their time worth it and to show up more often and this kind of stuff? It's all a learning process. But I have a question for you, B, because I was supposed to ask you about your replenishable items.
Oh yeah, I got all 5 of them listed.
Nice. What
Yeah.
What can you talk a bit about replenishable items? Why it is that you considered that something you wanted to focus on?
Just replenishable items, and of course, the profit margin on stuff that you can just buy over and over is, to me, it always seems like it's a lot less than the home runs you get from thrifting and this and that. But the way I look at a replenishable item is, if I can find one thing that I can buy over and over again, and it makes me $5 clear profit every time it sells. If I sell 100 of them, it's $500 profit. And with a replenishable, you list it once and the listing is there and it just sells over and over. And what I do with replenishables is, a lot of times I'll buy stuff, and as long as I know I can sell it, pay the shipping and pay the fees and break even, I'm good with it. I'll try just about any product that I can at least break even on. And a lot of times I do sell stuff and just break even on it when it's the first 1, 2, 3 sales. But then once that listing has 3 or 4 sales showing up on it, and it's still selling at that price, then I bump it up by $1. And then when I do my little bookkeeping, I see the profit, it goes up. And the next time I sell it, okay, it sold for that price, we're going to raise it by another $1. So now it's already got 5 solds. It's got a purchase history. The listing's optimized. And then I just see how far I can take it as far as price to keep it selling. And then, that's I just let it settle in wherever it's at. If I price something and I end up not selling one for an entire month, because I do like Chris says, I go through and revise. And the way I do it is, I go to my active listings and then I'll revise whatever is ending that day. Anything that's ending that day, I'm going through and opening it up, and I go through the whole listing and try to optimize it and swap stuff around. And then it seems like, revising items does work, because a lot of times you revise 20 items. Normally I'll get one of those items to sell before it ends that time. But the replenishables, if I could have 1,000 item eBay store with 1,000 replenishables that sell, to me, that's just automatic money after a certain point. You know what I mean? So I love replenishables and wholesale stuff. So anything that I can get at a little bit of a cheaper price as far as wholesale, I list a lot of stuff and some of the stuff that I've listed, I was totally surprised that it sells over and over and over again. And that's when I learned you might as well just list as much stuff as you can and figure out what works and what doesn't, because you can always take it down if it's not making money or if it becomes a problem. So
yeah, you can work with your results and focus on what is showing demand and interest. Makes sense.
And you get, every time you make a sale, even if you're breaking even, or even if you're making a little bit of profit, you can get the info of that customer for the sale to, use somewhere else, if that's the thing you do, which I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build an email list to where I can run ads to people who have already purchased something from me. So just one of my latest things. If you can advertise right back to your customers and, you hit them with some kind of a special offer or a discount and they already have bought something from you and it's already been delivered, they've already had a great experience. I mean, it just seems like if you can retarget all your customers that's already purchased from you, seems like it would make sales. Maybe I'm wrong, but I
Yeah,
don't.
definitely. That's like it in a lot of more traditional business. Repeat customers are everything, like absolutely everything. With eBay, it's not as simple to get repeat customers, because in a lot of situations, people will buy stuff on like a one-time basis from you, and you don't have as much opportunity to stand out from other people, like for being you, because you're just another seller on eBay. So you stand out by having a different price, or like maybe you kind of have an opportunity to stand out if something goes wrong and you handle it really well, because then they have an opinion of you that's good, so they might prefer you even if you're more expensive than somebody else. But in general, in like physical business and traditional business, repeat customers are almost everything. The whole point is to get that first interaction, even if you lose money on that first interaction. If you score a positive relationship with a customer, like with Starbucks, for example, repeat customers is their business. That is literally how they earn money. And especially like as I used to work there as a barista, and like you see the same people coming in getting the same thing every day, spending $6 to $10 on stuff that material wise and cost of goods wise costs $1 or $2. And it's all about the repeat customers. And anytime you have a brand, it's the same thing. Repeat customers make things so much more lucrative. But yeah, it definitely is different on eBay in that sense, though. So Kimmy, how have things been going? You weren't on the call last week, but you were previously, and I think you said
Yes.
you were going somewhere, right? You were going to.
Yeah, last week I was actually heading to Kentucky, so I wasn't here last week.
That's
But yeah,
right.
well, the prep business is picking up here now, so it's getting busier and busier here. Boxes arriving at my door, so that's been good.
That's exciting. That's so cool too. Like I always dream when I was in the States, I always dreamed of a situation where stuff could get sent to my house. I do something with it, and then the postman picks it up.
Right,
Like that.
that's a prep center.
It's perfect.
Yeah. So,
And that's
yeah.
cool because you don't have to like. It's not like you don't have to spend time sourcing. But I mean, you kind
In
of do
theory,
because you have to find
I do have that side business too, but yeah.
But you kind of find people who are already they're sourcing for their own business, and you just get involved in their process
Right.
versus having
Exactly.
to like figure everything out. Which I think is probably more stable. It's more easy for you to develop a system.
That's what I do, because I have too much debt to just be doing it on my own. So this way it helps to cover that. I'm trying to pay that down, because I don't want to just rely on my own FBA income. So I'm doing that. I still have eBay. I had bought 9 pallets of overstock, so I'm still getting that posted. And I do have a lister now, so I have someone taking pictures, and then they're putting in Dropbox, and I have a lister creating the listings. So
Nice.
they're actually in Rhode Island. So that's been working really well. And
Oh, you
she's
have a
cross-posting
U.S.
to Posh
lister.
for me. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
So she's cross-posting to Poshmark for me. And I got my first Posh sale yesterday. I never sold on Posh before, so that was fun. So
Poshmark's a big market.
yeah, it seems like it.
For
They're very brand driven though, and a
yeah.
lot of my overstock is not brand. It's very odd things.
As long as it's
So
clothing, that's really
it is
like
clothing.
if it's
We're
clothing,
measuring
it
it. A
sells on
lot of it is,
Poshmark.
I think, private label brands that they just maybe didn't move fast enough or whatever, so they liquidated it. So some of it's the sizes are a little off for U.S. sizes, so we're just doing a lot of measurements.
Nice. The Helpful Entrepreneur says, "Morning, everybody. Good morning.
Morning.
I feel bad about. So I'm I was gonna say I'm not purposefully ignoring drop shipping questions, but I am purposefully ignoring drop shipping questions. I don't ever want everybody to take that the wrong way. I just get like I've been answering the same exact drop shipping questions almost every day of my life for like over 2.5 years, and I get tired of it. I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with it anymore, especially when it's like really basic stuff. Like Tejas, you asked, how do you start eBay drop shipping with no money? You can literally go to YouTube. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos with that exact same title. I know because I've made some. Other people I make videos with have made videos. There's tons of information that, like, asking how to start drop shipping without money, like, drop shipping is something that you start without money. So it's not really like.
I mean, the thing is, man, I'll be the bad guy for you, Jack. The thing is, if you're asking that question and not going out and finding the answer yourself, you'll never make it in drop shipping. Never. It's too much work. It's too much research. You have to do too much, you have to find all these answers yourself, and either pay for a course and hope it's good or something, but to get into drop shipping and to do it right and not get banned and not get in trouble and actually have good customer service, I mean, you're talking about, you got to set up the business, you got to find your suppliers, you got to figure out customer service, you got to fix your taxes, you got to, and a lot of the folks trying to do it from out of the United States, which is a whole nother issue. I mean, I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from doing drop shipping. I'm just saying.
No, you're just being realistic. Yeah.
Put in the work.
if you're begging for help right off the jump, man, I mean, I'm the same way. I don't help people that ask me Google questions. They ask questions that you can either Google or YouTube. I mean, if they haven't even gone that far, then they're not going to do it. They're just not going to do it. It's too much work, too much research. And I don't know. I mean, the people who are successful, they do it all themselves. They find the answer. If they need an answer to a question, they find it. It's all on Google. It's all on YouTube. It's all there.
And so what I'm trying to go on, Kimmy.
Okay. I was just going to say, I actually closed both my drop shipping stores now because it was too much mental real estate with everything else I got going on. I was like, I'm done. It's just not worth it.
It is a lot of emotional and mental, for sure. You're basically getting paid for the amount of stress you can deal with.
Right.
eBay is like that a little bit, but drop shipping on eBay in particular is like that. But that being said, like, so that's only if you're not using, like, okay, you can make drop shipping reliable. And so I'll share a little bit for those of you interested in drop shipping. This is what you have to do to have reliable drop shipping. And the first thing is, before you even start drop shipping, you have to learn everything you possibly can about your online digital footprint. You need to understand what IP addresses are. You need to understand how companies can identify you. You have to study all this information. And then you have to start growing accounts. You make multiple different accounts. You have processes to grow these eBay accounts where you don't post anything on them for months before you actually start selling items on them. And you have 10, 20, 30 of these accounts, all in different identities, different locations. Everything's isolated. And you're using tools to log into these. That's the only way that you can actually have stability drop shipping, is for you to really completely understand all that goes into stealth account creation. Because once you have that, then you have a huge competitive advantage. Then you can have faith knowing that inevitably one of your accounts is going to get banned, and it's all good because you've done everything necessary so that that account goes down. You're working on one of your 20 other accounts. That is how you can have stability drop shipping. But it's super complicated to do that properly. Like, really complicated. You have to know a lot.
Yeah.
And most people
you get all that done. If you get to that point, then you think you found a perfect product and you go to list it, but there's already 10 other people selling it for cheaper than what you can buy it for. So, I mean, and yeah, you can list it high and hope to sell, or you can do the bulk, and just throw everything out there. It's hard, man. It's hard. I've never figured it out. I do a little bit of drop shipping, but the way I do it, I mean, I do it from people who do drop shipping. I don't do retail drop shipping. I mean, I don't know, people who do the Home Depot and yeah, because I mean, I've researched it. I've actually done all this research, and like when you were doing the bulk drop shipping, I mean, that's how I found you. And I was like, oh man, I can do this. I can do the research and make these lists and do all that. And I played with it a little bit, but the competition is so stiff and the risks are so high that I was like, nah, I can't mess with that. But then I was like, oh, this dude's living in Nicaragua for $300 a month. What? And I'm telling you, your videos walking around, showing your place and all that stuff, that's what really hooked me to your channel, because I mean, I jumped from thing to thing on YouTube, and people drop shipping it's just a topic. But when I saw you walking around showing your place and this is what I get and this is how much it costs and the advantages and disadvantages, I was like, man. And I've been watching your channel ever since. I mean, the drop shipping was just what got me there. But I like the out of country content for sure, because I think that's super valuable too. I mean, if I ever get to a point where I need to go and take a year or two, your example is the perfect thing for me to, replicate, as far as moving to a low cost of living country, still having online income and making it work. And you jump back and forth. So, I mean, I know it can be done, but drop shipping's hard. Drop shipping is hard.
Yeah, it's true.
Get ready for a lot of research and a lot of work, and it can be done, but it's not just as simple as some people make it out to be. But
well, and that's the thing that's tricky, is it is a lot like lottery tickets, because there are some people who just get really lucky, and like they post like 20 products and 2 of them resell over and over again because they were just in the right place at the right time, and they earn like $1,000 or $2,000 a month in the very beginning off of like 2 products. Like I've met people who got into that situation, right? And it's funny because for every like one of those people, there's like 400 other people who posted 20 things and nothing ever happened, right? So it's very much an industry where like people can do the same thing and get completely different results out of it. There's a lot of kind of luck that's based on it, but not at the same time. I don't want to just bash drop shipping, because it is a really good opportunity for a lot of people in the world. The problem is that like it's a good entry into the self-employed life. If you're trying to get out of a job, and just particularly if you're in a third world country, it's completely feasible that you can earn enough money drop shipping to buy yourself enough time to figure out what you actually want to do. Like that is real. That is actually realistic. Like for example, say that you were to earn $10,000 in the U.S., that wouldn't last you very long. But in Nicaragua, you could have a whole year of working on whatever you wanted every day with $10,000. So even if you drop shipped and you just earned 10 grand, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that much money. Like in the United States, that's not enough money to live. If for a year you have $10,000, that's not enough money. Like you won't be able to pay your basic bills. You're under poverty in the United States with 10 grand. But in these other countries, it's completely different. And you absolutely can use it to get yourself that kind of cushion. I think it's called a runway, right? Where then you buy yourself a period of time to figure something out. Who knows what it's going to be? Who knows what you're going to do? But usually that's how I perceive dropshipping should be used. It's like you can use it for something towards something else. But it's dangerous to rely exclusively on dropshipping.
But anybody getting started, I mean, they need to watch insane amounts of content on the subject. They need to just completely, I mean, that information's got to take over your life for a certain amount of time. And once you've consumed all the free info and you're knowledgeable about what it takes and you've got a little bit of a plan, I mean, then ask somebody who's done it or is doing it, so you can ask them a specific question like, okay, I got this, I did that, I did this, but I'm right here at this point. Now I'm asking for help to a specific problem that I need some help getting over. But man, it's the same way everywhere though. I mean, the general questions are the easiest questions, and I mean, they're good questions, but I don't know. I couldn't. It'd be tough to answer them over and over and over again when it's all online on whether it's on your channel or somewhere else.
It's not like it's
you don't want to be a jerk.
It's not like it's the same person who's asking me over and over again. It's so many different people, and they're all asking for the first time. They're being reasonable in that sense.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the same person asking me hundreds of the same questions over and over again. But so at the same time, I understand, because they really are just trying to improve their lives. That's what they're trying to focus on. So
who we got? Bray and Jang in here. Can they hear us? They're both muted though, ain't they?
What up, man? What up?
Oh, there he is. What's up, dude?
Yeah. I'm actually doing the opposite of what you guys are talking about. Going to work.
There you go.
Oh, you're chatting with people. So, but that's great info. I like how you guys are telling people they need to dive into a lot of content, go in deep in it, and don't just try to, do it like as a little flimsy thing. You got to really be dedicated.
Unfortunately, that's the problem with most people interested in online income who are researching online, is the reality is that they may say that they're trying to become self-employed, but that's not the actual goal. The goal is that they want to earn a bunch of money right now. And unfortunately, when you have that goal, you're most likely going to fail. Almost certainly you are going to fail.
Exactly
so
right.
People tend to give up. But really, you have to be more patient. You have to understand the bigger picture, yada, 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 yada. But Bray, so tell us, did you have your interactions with strangers?
I did. So the total number was 3. Had 3 interactions. Just, when I'm standing on the line, I'll just talk to someone. One time I was in the gym, went up and talked to someone, just see how his day was, told him I liked his shirt, and, just had a regular conversation. You start going in, talking about his life and stuff, talking about how his wife doesn't get motivated to come to the gym with him and stuff. So it's pretty cool how people just dive into, something personal in their life and just openly share it with you.
Yeah, especially if you share something. That's something I use a lot to get people to open up. Is I'll share something vulnerable, or I'll admit an insecurity or something like that. And then it's amazing how much people will open up. If you express vulnerability and then they just feel like, oh, whatever, I can tell you everything now. It's all good.
Okay. They feel way comfortable. Like, oh, okay, my thing's not that bad. That's cool.
Hey, Bray, did you get that? Did you get that idea from somewhere, or did you just tell yourself you were going to start talking to more people and interacting?
I kind of got that just from reading books, getting out your comfort zone. It's like,
4-hour work week.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Then that book didn't, the overall feel of that book is what really did it for me. I mean, some of the things Tim Ferriss talked about in that book, really good, but like the general stuff is what I remember that he was talking about. Oh, you just gotta make a goal, even if it's just talking to one person a day. Or then he talks about men, you need to ask one woman for her phone number. Women, you need to ask one guy for the phone number, and it's all about putting yourself in those situations that are just at the edge of your comfort zone, because that's where all the action, that's where all the improvement happens. I love that. And I was like, man, he's reading 4-hour work week. Gotta be.
Yeah. I used to have the audiobook on replay. That one and Gary V Crushing It. I'll just listen to that over and over and again.
You see, that's what I'm talking about too. Like stuff like that. I know this dude will succeed because I listen to the same audiobook like over and over and over. I listen to the same motivational stuff over and over again.
Your favorite ones.
Yeah, and the second time you hear it or the third time you hear it, you always find something new. And it's not that it wasn't in the book, it just wasn't in you. I don't know what book that come from, but it's like the second time the book didn't change, you did, and you saw something completely different. I get these little free Post-it notes or whatever from the check cashing place. And something that I do with these Post-it notes is when I'm listening to stuff, and I always put headphones on and just zone out on it, like headphones, listen to the audiobooks or motivational videos. And like every now and then there'll be just a little nugget, saying a phrase or something. And it's like, oh, find a way or make a way. And then I'll just write that down on the Post-it note, find a way or make a way. And then I post these little notes. At one time, man, I had my whole wall covered, like psycho type level. Like people walk in like, oh my God, what are you doing? And it's just like a collection of all the best sayings that I've heard from audiobooks or YouTube channels or whatever. But I mean, right now I'm starting another little list. I got 2, 4, 6, 8. I got about 12 of them up on my board now. And it just always helps me. If I look at it, I put them in my bathroom. So when I go to the bathroom in the morning, I see the thing. You are the key to your better future or whatever, just anything. As long as you're seeing it, even unconsciously, to me, it's
feeding your brain. Your brain.
I want to be surrounded. Yeah, I want to be surrounded by nothing but positive things and nothing but things that make me feel good about being in whatever space I'm in. So,
well, all right, guys, I have to catch you guys next Friday.
Oh wait, what are we asking you next Friday?
Okay, dang, I gotta quickly think about this one.
You can do the same thing if you want.
Yeah, let's do the same thing. See if I can double the number. I got 3 this time. Let's try to get 6.
Cool.
That's what's up. All right, break.
All right, thank you guys, man.
Thanks for joining.
Have a good day.
You too.
But yeah, see, man, that dude's telling me, I mean, he seems like he'll succeed because he just, I don't know. It's weird, man. Like it's just, yeah. And you've almost got to become obsessed with it. Like I will not fail. I will just do it. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you can see it when somebody's got it,
I'm trying to figure out how to teach that, but I'm still not sure. It's like that phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I feel like the role of my life is trying to figure out how to make the fucking horse drink. Like
give them salt.
Yeah, right. Give them, and that I think that's a really good metaphor right there, the salt thing, because that's something that I'm learning is that oftentimes people need to be taught one thing, but they don't want to learn that thing. So in order to teach them what they need, you have to tell them that you're teaching them something else. When really you're teaching them another thing. Yeah, it's like, oh my God.
It's really all about self-awareness. I mean, you got to figure out what you want. Most people live just in an unconscious state about what they're doing from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. They wake up,
reacting to the life in front of them.
Automatically go to the bathroom, get a shower, get ready. Then they automatically fix their coffee or their breakfast and do whatever they do. And they go to work and they hate their job for 8 hours. And then they come home and they're like, oh, I'm glad that's over. And spend 2 hours doing something else. And then it's right back to bed. If you never snap out of it, and I still catch myself even doing this to where I don't work a regular job, I still catch myself getting into these like ruts or just routines to where it's not as productive. And that's how I know I've slipped out of being conscious of what I'm doing back into the unconscious, thoughts or actions or whatever, because it's all in the mind, man. I just love these books and these podcasts and all that stuff that talk about self-awareness. And if you can control your mind and control every thought and make a decision the smart way instead of the emotional way, that's where it's all in the mind, man. I mean, I know people that are totally capable of doing the exact same thing I could do, and I could show them exactly how to do it, but in their mind, to them, it's impossible.
Yeah, so it doesn't
when
matter.
when in reality,
horse isn't gonna drink.
Yeah, but in reality, they got somebody that would show them exactly what to do firsthand. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't have that. I had to learn everything and make all the mistakes and do it all, solo. But I don't know. It's all in the head, man. It's all in the mind.
So we got to determine what you guys want for next week. Let's start with you, Kimmy. What are you trying to? You got to think of something. So ideally, it's something that pushes you a little bit. Like maybe you wouldn't do it unless you shared.
I got a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to schedule my time and make sure I don't get too caught up in one task versus another. So I've actually been trying to do some blocking, and it's failing. So I got to try to be a little more stricter with my times. Like I just have like client times I'm trying to stick with. Okay, I want to put this much time into this person's process today, and then so much into another process, and then I do an OA list, so I'm trying to put enough into that. And like today, I got all behind because I forgot the OA list. I had to run you to do that quick. So just things like that. I'm just all over the place. So
I've been using the reminders app on my iPhone. I don't know if you got iPhone or not.
But I can look into it.
But the reminders app on my phone has, like, I've got certain things. I got my time blocked out. I'm not sticking to it. I'm failing miserably. But I'm starting. There are certain things that I am doing. And then as soon as that reminder, I'll go in and set a reminder and put a date and have it repeat daily. And then it'll send an alert at a certain time. So at 9 o'clock, I drink 1 water, do 20 push-ups and 20 sit-ups. So, and then at 8 p.m. at night, it's like drink another water. Wherever I am, it's like, all right, my notification come up. I need to get it done. But even if you don't do whatever task it is, it'll show it that it's overdue. But I mean, I don't know if that helps or not, but I actually love to have a set schedule that it does constantly remind me. And another thing I want to do is start putting some positive affirmations or sayings or whatever I want. I want to have some reminders on there that say, you will do $500,000 on whatever. You will do this, or you are successful, or you don't have to be stressed. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just little things, and you can have it repeat once a month or at random or whatever. So I like the reminder idea. I don't know where I got that from.
So Kimmy, you're trying to work on your time management. So we need to identify a specific thing that you think could help you progress with this that we can ask you next week.
Well, I guess what the issue I had this week was when I did do the blocking, I forgot to look at it like the next day, like I got caught up with other things. So, and the phone thing could possibly work, although I have also found that all the notifications going off all day is distracting. So I've been shutting them off. So I don't know. I'll have to see if I can turn one on and not the others.
You can do
maybe
that.
I can maybe put it on my phone or my computer or something too. That might be easier. But yeah.
Yeah, in general, I try and avoid interaction with electronics as much as possible because my life is consumed by them. So I try and have time away from things. Like I don't have Facebook Messenger. It doesn't give me any notifications. I don't get notifications about emails. I can't even check my email on my phone. I'm trying to not like I want to become a person who chooses to check something, not a person who sits in front of their computer, goes to Gmail, goes to Facebook, goes to like just does that loop, you know? I want to make sure that everything in my life I am sitting down with purpose to do a specific thing. And when I finish it, I'm getting up and putting myself in a position where I am at peace and I'm relaxed and I'm not distracting myself. Because then what comes to mind is usually something productive or good. But we still need to think of something concrete for you that's very specific. So with this, you're trying to do more scheduling, but you're having trouble remembering to look at the schedule. How can we work with that?
Yeah, I guess it's not like I with doing the prep for other people. You know, I'm trying to like I try to get their things out first thing in the morning, or whoever has the large order, trying to process that. And that I think is what I get caught up with, because I mean that might take longer than I had scheduled for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh shoot, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. So
you
like
can't
it's just
perfectly predict how long something's
exactly,
going to take. Yeah.
exactly. And I'm like, oh wait, I had that scheduled. Let me see where I was. And I'm like, oh yeah, none of that happened. So, and I don't know that is something that can be scheduled, because I never know what's going to show up at my doorstep every day. You know,
Yeah.
I get 3 shipments a day, and I never know. You know, and I try to get it out like within 24 to 48 hours. So some days it's really crazy, and then other days it's not. So I don't really know what my answer is. Maybe that's my project for next week, is to figure out my answer.
Yeah.
Figure out what I need to do.
Well,
I mean, if it's not tied to a certain time, I mean, maybe just a to-do list with some check boxes that you can go down through.
True.
And, you know, if you don't know the exact time, I mean, I was using Evernote to make little checklist of, these are the daily things I want to do. And then I would have another little spot where these are things I need to do, like important stuff. So, and I don't know why the little checkbox is good, but it feels good to check the little box.
Yeah, it's satisfying.
It's completed. I don't know why. But.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that brings up something. Personally, I don't think of working as like, oh, I'm going to work for an hour. I'm going to work for 2 hours. Because really, all of those thoughts are based on convincing other people of things. They don't have anything to do with your actual productivity. Whenever we're talking about working for an amount of time, it's really important to understand that almost certainly that means we're trying to convince another human of something. That's the only reason we would share how long we spent working on something. But the reality is that shouldn't be the focus. The focus isn't on how long you spend. What matters is what you're doing, right? So, like, I still make this mistake where I'll talk about, like, oh, I worked on this for X hours, yada, yada. But that's almost always with communications with other people. In my actual personal life, it's not about, like, working X hours per day. It's about accomplishing these specific things that I've already identified as tasks I need to do. Because in general, if you think too much about time passing, again, it causes you to be detached from what actually matters. It doesn't matter how much you worked. That literally has nothing to do with progress at all. All that matters is completion of necessary tasks. And thinking about how much time you spend doing these things is kind of relevant sometimes, but if you focus too much on working for X hours a day, you have to understand that you are taking focus away from what actually matters, which is accomplishing specific tasks. The amount of time you spent on it really technically doesn't matter. What matters is the accomplishment of these tasks. So one of the things that I do with this philosophy in mind is that I don't really have like, oh, I'm going to work on this for an hour. I have a list, and that list is just things to do. I have a sense maybe that will take 10 minutes. Maybe that will take an hour. But I don't think about that part. I just think about, okay, what's on this list? What am I most interested in doing right now? What can I work effectively on right now, given my current headspace? What can I accomplish? And just crossing stuff off. So for me, once I have that list, it's usually really easy to work. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky putting things on the list, because if you put too many things on the list, then a couple days pass by, you haven't done any, and you're moving on to new tasks, right? So you have to make sure that you actually are following through with what you put on the list. You do seriously intend to do that within like a couple days, because if too much time passes and you've listed something and you don't do it, it's not going to get done in most cases for me.
You've got to have a sense of urgency. I mean, that's the way you make this thing work, is like, I got to get this done. I got to get, you got to have I try to keep myself like I'm running out of time. I mean, I keep my mind, so I'm running out of time. I got
is great.
I got to do this, got to do that. I mean, I'm 40, so I mean, I'm like, I got 40 more years, so I got to get rich in 40 more years, so my kids can be set up and my legacy be good, and we'll be just, but a sense of urgency and the intensity of the work that you put in. Like, I mean, everybody knows when you was in school, you had that paper due, teacher give you a month to do it. You didn't do nothing for 28 days. And then the 28th day gets there and it's like, oh crap, I got a 500-word essay to do. And you still don't get it done because it's still not the very night before. But then on that 29th day, it's like, oh yeah, fix it. And you get it done in like 4 hours. You go in there and you do what you got to do. So in the books and the audio stuff that I listen to, they always say, set tight, stringent goals and stick to them, because if you're supposed to have it done by 10 o'clock on Tuesday and you have to get it done, I mean, you will get it done. You will find a way to get it done. But
the trick is getting yourself to perceive that you have to get it done.
That's the hard thing. Is it's easy to lie to yourself, but it's easy not to lie to yourself, because I'm telling myself I got to get this done by 10 p.m. tonight, but really I could probably get it done tomorrow in the morning before it's due or whatever. But it's all about mindset, man.
So Kimmy, time management wise, I'm going back to this because we got to determine something specific for you. So you mentioned that you weren't checking something every day. Could that be something where you literally just commit to making sure you remind yourself to check this thing every day?
Commit to checking my list.
Okay, so what am I writing?
Commit to checking my daily list.
Daily list. Okay.
Checklist.
So this means Kimmy will commit to looking at her list once a day.
There we go.
So, is there anything? Whenever I'm trying to integrate a habit like that, usually what I find the most success with is pairing it with an existing habit. For example, okay, there's a new cat, right? And the cat poops, and I'm in charge of taking the litter out. If I just have to remember that, I don't do very well. I don't always remember that I need to clean the litter box. But I already empty out a little trash can of organic waste 1 or 2 times per day. Okay, this is like rinds, other peels, meat, all the stuff that gets separated from the rest of the trash. So I was able to do the cat litter thing almost every day by putting the cat poo in that bag as I'm taking it to the trash, because that's something I was already doing. It's already on the way. And by attaching it to the existing habit, boom, it's a habit straight away. I don't need to remember it. Whereas if I specifically think, okay, I need to go clean the cat litter box, I forget. I don't remember to think that. But now every time I do the thing that I already was doing every day, I just instinctually do the cat box thing. And it's very, very easy for me. So try and think of something that you already do every day and try and associate opening your list with that specific task. That's going to be easier than relying on yourself to remember organically to look at the list. So I'm not sure what your day looks like, how you interact with your computer, where the list is, whether it's physical on the computer. I'm not sure how to go about that.
I'm thinking
for
maybe
you.
I just do a post-it and put it on my computer at the end of the day, and that way I see it first thing in the morning.
Yeah. So that would be to make sure you have
That would be
post-its next to your computer.
Right. I have some in the drawer.
You could put them on the next to the computer. I have to control myself that way. I can't will myself to remember everything, but I can set myself up for success by placing what I have to remember in my path. And then I remember to do it because it's there. Like my skateboard is always at the door because every time I go outside, I see my skateboard, so I take it. If my skateboard isn't at the door, I don't think about it unless I'm deciding to go skate. But, I want to be skating more. I want to push myself. So that's an example of like placing the objects in a way where they're going to force you. They're going to at least put it in your head. Why is that there? I have to move it out of the way oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so we got something for Kimmy. What about you, B? We got to figure out your thing.
I want to increase my total listed item amount by $500 this week. That's something that Chris talks about a bunch too, and dude is so spot on with this. It ain't about how many items you have listed. It's all about that
Value.
Total listing, value. So I want to take it $500. If I could increase my amount listed, not necessarily number of items listed, but if I can increase my amount listed $500 a week, I mean, I'm gonna be doing pretty good after a few weeks. So I hit 500, but that'll give me something to shoot for anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
right now I'm at $52,278. So if I go 500 stuff that ain't working or ain't selling or whatever, so I have to not only make up for the stuff that sells, but I also have to make up for the stuff that I'm delisting.
Yeah. Or the price.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So I mean, your total listed goes down if you're selling one-offs and a bunch of one-offs sell, high ticket items or whatever. Then your total listed goes down, and then if I go through here and when I do my optimizing or whatever, I'll sort it by available quantity. So if I've got any that are sold out that I know I'm not going to relist, those listings get ended. And then I sort my listings by time left. So whatever is ending that day, those are the items that I revise and decide whether or not they're staying or getting ended, So, but anyhow.
So what's the amount? You're increasing it by $500, and then the number specifically that you need it to be a $500 increase is
$52,778. That would be my goal number from this moment.
Okay, 52,778.
And with that, I got to go, brother.
All right. Sounds like a good ending.
But yeah, it's been a good chat, man. I love it. It's all the stuff that we talk about, whether it's drop shipping or eBay or Amazon or being a fulfillment center or making courses. It literally, all of it is all in the head, man. It's all in the mind. There is a solution to every problem. It's just all about mindset, whether or not you're going to find it or whether or not you're going to attract it into your life. I mean, the law of attraction, I'm obsessed with that right now. Like, you will become what you think about. So if you're negative and toxic, you're going to have chaos and trouble in your life. If you're positive and solution oriented, I feel like it'll work out, even though that's hard to believe sometimes because the negative stuff doesn't stop just because you're I pump this positive stuff into my head all day long and negative stuff still happens. And I'm just like, oh man, just stay positive, man. Just stay positive. But it's hard, man. It's hard. But
it gets easier.
Life is hard. So it is what it is.
That was actually my Facebook post this morning. It all begins and ends in your mind.
That's what's up. That's why we're here, because we all think alike. So that's good.
We're all on the same tune today.
Yeah.
Un momento. All right, guys. I have to leave. Let someone in. Ciao.
Yeah.
Later.